Hello, everybody. A for Awesome here, and welcome back to another episode of our Hollywood Undead um, album reviews. I started this series back in like 2020 with Lorene Drive's Romantic Wealth. Obviously, that's the previous band by Danny. And I released I think I did everything from like 2003 until 2011. Took a 3 or 4 years off of making Hollywood Undead content. Came back in 2024 with notes from the 2020. I think it was 2024. It was 2024 with both notes from the Underground and Day of the Dead. And then I don't think I made any in 2025, or I could be wrong. It could have been notes from the Underground was in 2024, and I came back again for another year later with Day of the Dead in 2025. But now, obviously, this year I've done Deuce, Invincible, and 5, and now we're covering New Empire Volumes 1 and 2 in this video. So this is probably going to be a much longer video compared to the I think it was like half an hour for the Deuce Invincible review, and I'm not quite sure. I think it was like at least 45 minutes, if not longer, for the 5 review. This should be a little bit longer, but yeah, I hope that you guys really are enjoying the, hope you guys enjoy. Hollywood Undead waited 3 years between albums after 5, not including the Psalms EP, and even though it is unusual to wait so long for a new Hollywood Undead album, with the last time this happened being when Deuce was removed from the band. Luckily for us, there was no drama during the release of this album. The only sad news was that Hollywood Undead had run out of their contract with the record label, and so they released this album under a new label, in particular an independent label that they had kind of founded around the release of 5. It seems that they had gotten fed up with the music industry and wanted their own creativity. They also ditched the masks around this time. I know when Psalms came out and they didn't take any new images with the masks, a lot of people were concerned that there may have been an intention to not continue with the mask. I know I was, but I know I wasn't worried at first. I was like, oh, it's probably because it's not a full album, so they're not going to change them. And then this came out, and they basically said, yeah, we're not wearing masks anymore. And I was like, that sucks, because that was one of my favorite parts of that band, right, was that there was that unique image, right? I know multiple bands use masks now, but in particular, I always thought that Hollywood Undead had really unique masks, right? Compared to bands like Sleep Token or even Slipknot. I know Slipknot has some pretty good masks from time to time. I do like a lot of them, but I think I've always just really liked the style that Hollywood Undead went with their masks. But yeah, Johnny Three Tears said about the album that the album was their attempt at reimagining the band as a whole. Not just a new sound for the release, but a new sound for the band altogether. Their goal from the outset was to make music that stood alone from the other albums, yet fit with what they made before, building upon the old and the new. They approached it as if it was their first time sitting in a room to write music together. They asked, what is it that they could make songs about that they haven't made songs about before? Let's pretend they've never made a record before and do something different. They don't want fans to ever get comfortable with them. They want the fans to expect something different. Starting with track 1, Time Bomb. Time Bomb is the second single from this album, released on November 15th of 2019. It feels like one of their most complex songs due to each line being delivered by another member, which must have been really tedious to record, considering that recording one verse is already annoying enough. Recording one verse with each line having another person is something else. Heart of a Champion. This song was one of their best to hear when this album came out. To be honest, though, when I first saw the name on the track listing, I thought it would be like Nobody's Watching from 5 or Sing from Day of the Dead. To my shock, it was a good song, and to my even bigger shock, they played an even better version live before COVID hit with Papa Roach and Ice Nine Kills, and ended up releasing that as a remix, which you'll hear my opinion of later in this video. The Lead Already Dead is the lead single from this album, released on Halloween of 2019, roughly a year after Psalms. I remember listening to the snippet posted on Twitter and being so hyped for what finally felt like a return to the swan songs to notes from the Underground era songs, and this song actually does deliver in my opinion. and in my opinion, it's the standout song on this album. While the first verse can be a little lackluster, and I'm not really a big fan of the vocal filter put over J-Dog's voice, the end of the song feels like really unleashes the metal that this band in particular, had never really gone for. Empire was the third and final single released from the album. It is honestly my least favorite song from the album, along with Time Bomb. Instead of releasing this and Time Bomb as singles, I think they should have released Enemy and maybe Killing It. I don't know. I hate the way the vocals sound in this song, and honestly, this being the title track for the album is just sad. Already Dead is the standout song by far. The next track, Killing It, is a little bit, has a kind of generic lyrics-wise, and an extremely cheesy verse by Charlie, but what this song lacks in originality, it makes up for the once-in-a-lifetime occurrence of Funny Man screaming on a song. Enemy is honestly the third best song on this album. I fucking love this track and what it represents about self-destructive behavior, and once again, it is heavier than some of their early work, making it absolutely worth a listen. The next track, Upside Down, featuring Kellen Quinn of Sleeping with Sirens, is fairly okay. I thought Kellen was a girl when I first heard this song, because I actually had never listened to Sleeping with Sirens when this album first came out in 2020. Obviously, I've been much more educated since then. But yeah, I think this song really does reflect on your life choices, and I really enjoy it. The next track, Second Chances, featuring Benji Madden of Good Charlotte, is another softer track, though it does feature some heavy guitars and screaming near the end, so I can give it a pass. The last time that I heard, most of the time when this song first came out, when the album first came out, I couldn't really get into this particular song, but years later I understand it more and I do finally relate to it. Nightmare is a great way to end the album. It's a great hip-hop song, and honestly, it's my favorite on the album, other than Already Dead. After releasing New Empire Vol.1, Hollywood Undead did a collab with an artist named 0936 on a remix of his song The End, titled The End/Undead, and the song featured Charlie doing an amazing fast verse, and Johnny doing an incredible verse, and Funny Man finally doing something interesting. After that, Johnny Three Tears appeared on a remix of the song This Is Not Hollywood by Ghost Kid, the ex-singer of German band Eskimo, now known as Electric Callboy. Many months later, and by many months I mean like the same year but about the end of the year, as New Empire Volume 1 was released. I want to say Valentine's Day of 2020, and this was released in December of 2020. New Empire Volume 2 was released. It was actually released on my mom's birthday in 2020, and was released during the COVID-19 pandemic, meaning most of it was recorded, written, and produced separately. So, of course, there were some challenges with creating an album during the pandemic, though the band seemingly overcame the issues very well, and so we're going to go on to the tracks. Starting with Medicate, an almost entirely solo Charlie Scene song, and while it is almost Nobody's Watching and levels of pop, it does include a couple of screams, and I do enjoy it. By the end, I do find it very catchy. The second track, Coming Through the Stereo, the second track, Coming Through the Stereo, is a decent track. It's my second favorite on this album, though I wish Charlie got a verse on this, and I wish Funny Man had been the first verse instead of Hyro the Hero. Ghost Out is by far my favorite track on the album, and is actually the only track on the entirety of New Empire Volume 2 to feature Funny Man on it. It honestly made me worry at the time that Funny Man was becoming the new Dick Curls, as it's been mentioned by the band members that he records the least amount of things on the album, he doesn't play any instruments, and it does worry me that if anyone was going to leave the band next, it would be him. The next track, Gonna Be Okay, was the final single released from the album on November 13th, 2020. To be honest, I really do enjoy Danny's chorus, but I don't really care for the rest of the song. It is interesting, though, that it took 4 songs into New Empire Volume 2 for Danny to even make a single appearance. Danny and Funny Man both barely appear on this album, as I previously mentioned, and it's interesting. The album was entirely written, recorded, produced, and mixed during COVID, and especially during the lockdowns. And I know during that time, Funny Man became a father for the first time, so that does explain his absence during this album. But Danny already had his daughter and son, so it doesn't really make sense to me, but I could be wrong. Danny does seem like a very family-focused person. The next track, does remind me Monsters reminds me of the Hollywood Undead MySpace days in the sense that it reminds me of a song by a teenager who is posting shit music to SoundCloud. Yes, I did just compare Hollywood Undead to the actual worst type of music ever made, the type of music that my wife's best friend listens to. I think this song is fucking horrible. I think Kill Station fucking sucks, and I'm sorry, I know this song is one of the ones that has some of the most, like, personal lines and talks about their childhoods, but this shit sounds like the most ass 12-year-old fucking SoundCloud song. Fuck you. The next track is called Idol. This song is pretty great, and it honestly got me to check out Tech9, which is, at the time of release in 2020, I had never listened to such a person before. Yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. On top of that, the instrumental of this song reminds me of the Doom 2016 soundtrack, which instantly makes it fucking rad. Plus, in the music video, as you can see, fucking Tech9 is wearing his mask gifted to him by the members of Slipknot, which makes even less sense now, because why is Tech9 wearing a mask in the music video, but fucking J-Dog and Johnny Three Tears couldn't be bothered to wear their masks? You had one fucking job, guys. Are you that lazy? Because it feels like the music video feels incredibly lazy. This was also the first single to be released from the album, being released on July 31st, 2020. Coming Home is the next track, and it was the second single for this album, and it was released on September 18th, 2020. I enjoy it. I think it's interesting. I think it's a very heartfelt song about the life of a rock star and coming back from tour. It's obvious that it was pretty personal to the members of the band. It is does veer a little into pop territory more than I would have preferred for this band. I definitely prefer their earlier hard rock and hip hop sound of albums like Swan Songs, American Tragedy, and Notes from the Underground. I can get with the EDM sound of some of the songs on Day of the Dead, but I think after that they've kind of slowly gone downhill, and it's why I haven't talked about them as much on the channel since then, because I just can't find myself getting hyped anymore for a lot of these new releases. The next track, Unholy, attempts to paint Hollywood Undead like Alice Cooper or Marilyn Manson or Ozzy Osbourne in some kind of awesome fucking like sacrilegious like scary band, and it just doesn't work. I'm not a fan of this song at all, honestly. I think it's one of the few attempts on New Empire Volume 2 that the band makes to actually try and be heavy, as in my opinion, New Empire Volume 2 is by far their least heavy album to date, in 2026 included. And unfortunately, I think this was like their only attempt to try to be heavy on this album, and it really didn't work. The next track, Worth It. I love this song. It's kind of a breakup song. I think Danny's chorus is really good. I think Charlie's verse is amazing. The final track on the album is the Heart of a Champion remix featuring Ice Nine Kills and Papa Roach. For those who don't know, I reviewed all of Papa Roach's music in 2022. That's on my Wattpad. The Ice Nine Kills, I'm actually coming out with reviews for relatively soon. In fact, I'm by the time you're seeing this video, I've already finished posting my Ozzy Osbourne documentary, and obviously I've posted the Deuce Invincible review, the Hollywood Undead 5 review, and now this review. So after this is actually going to be the Ice Nine Kills reviews. So that's really great to know. That's the next musical project type review content that you should expect from me. So yeah, normally if I was an artist I've never talked about on the channel before, like Ice Nine Kills, for example, like I've talked about them. You've seen me wear their t-shirts in many videos. I've talked about going to see them in concert, but I don't think I've never sat down and actually reviewed all their songs. And I would normally either just post the review on my website, post it on my Wattpad, or post it on community posts. but I specifically feel like I really wanted to dive deep into this band, into Ice Nine Kills, because they are another one of my personal favorites. But I unfortunately have some very strong opinions about them, both about their early days, about their current days, and everything in between. So I'm very, very interested in seeing. I think I was writing these reviews with the intention to just post them on my website, but I felt like it would have been better to do so in a video. Plus, Last Chance to Make Amends turns 20 this year anyway, so that kind of works out. But anyway, I prefer the Heart of a Champion remix way, way more than the original. And to be honest, in my opinion, it is absolutely worth listening to, and I wish it had been played live more than a couple of times. I also love the music video. If I was able to put it into this video, you should be able to see the footage right now. But I love the different masks that they use in the music video. I love that they use the American Tragedy Charlie Sheen mask, the Notes from the Underground Danny mask. I don't really understand this new Deadbite character that they're featuring in their New Empire marketing, especially since they kind of dropped him after New Empire. It didn't feel like that went anywhere. It felt like there was some kind of plan with it, and then they just kind of forgot about it, and that really bothered me. But yeah, I was like, that's decent, I guess. I do really enjoy the video though. The next track is actually a remix of Idol featuring Tech Nine, but instead of Tech Nine, it's Ghost Kid. The guy that made the "This Is Not Hollywood" song with Johnny Three Tears. Honestly, I wish I didn't really like Ghost Kid's verse on this, but I enjoyed the screams he did, and I think that they should have featured him on the original with Tech Nine, done it with Tech Nine and Ghost Kid, and then just had him do some screams in the chorus. Maybe take Johnny off the chorus, have Ghost Kid do the chorus. You got a J Dog, a Johnny, and a Tech Nine verse with a Ghost Kid chorus. I think that would have been a beautiful collaboration made in heaven, but unfortunately that didn't happen. The next track is another remix of Idol featuring a Russian rapper named Kurt92, and it's awful. Worse than any other. Awful. Bad. Stinky. Dookie. Bad. A song that came out in 2021 by a band named All Good Things. A song called For the Glory, which featured Charlie and Johnny in it. I'm sorry, but I liked the song when it came out. I specifically do remember listening to it a lot during COVID. But upon revisiting, now that the lockdown days are over and I haven't heard this song in years, it's a little dad rock. It reminds me a little too much of like, I don't know. It sounds like the kind of thing that would be played over like Dragon Ball footage or like Naruto footage. It's like way a little too much like that. You know what I mean? I can't get into it. I'm sorry, guys. It was during COVID, during that Hollywood Undead actually did something really, really unique for the time, where they actually released a digital live stream event that was basically a big concert that they were doing called the Hollywood Undead House Party, where they featured special guests like Kobe from Papa Roach. I think Spencer Sharnish from Ice Nine Kills might have shown up. I know M Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold showed up. Hyro the Hero showed up. I think Tech Nine made a guest appearance, but it was over a phone call, like it wasn't in person. It was digitally. And the masks showed up, and it was a really awesome event. I actually paid for tickets to see this and was able to download it and archive it on my laptop. That's why you're seeing should be seeing footage from it right now. And I had a great time watching it. I remember staying up very, very late to watch it. I know Korn later did a similar show, which I also bought tickets to. And also, COVID was my year for music, because I was just sitting there with I saw this live stream. I saw both Hollywood Undead live streams, as they did another one called Undead Unhinged or something. I can't quite remember. That one wasn't as successful as the house party, and I don't seem to have my what's it called? I don't have my archive of it still on my laptop anymore, but I still have the Hollywood Undead House Party. I still have the Korn show. I know Falling in Reverse did a live stream like that. And like I said, I know Hollywood Undead did a second one, but I don't have that. And it was really cool seeing a lot of different artists do this. And I think I probably paid over $100 for all of them total, because since it was a live stream, the tickets were so cheap. I didn't get to do the Korn meet and greet, but I know the Korn live stream came with a 2-minute meet and greet if you paid like an extra $25 or something. Because it was like $20 for a ticket and it was like $50 for the meet and greet. I opted out of the meet and greet. I know that's crazy. Because it was just over like a video call, and for me, there's so many things that can go wrong when trying to set something up, especially with such a short amount of time, that I didn't bother with the meet and greet. But I've seen plenty of videos online of people with their having their meet and greets with Korn, and I would have loved to have participated, but unfortunately, it just wasn't in the cards. Maybe one day I'll get to meet my hero Jonathan Davis and Brian Welch, though. That would be really awesome. But yeah, all in all, I hope you enjoyed, and in my next review that I'll be doing, I said earlier in this video that it was going to be Last Chance to Make Amends by Ice Nine Kills. That's only half true, because that is technically the next artist I'm planning to review is Ice Nine Kills, but the next actual video you're going to see is probably going to be, in terms of music reviews, is going to be a review of The Abyss by George Reagan the Dead Son, which is Johnny Three Tears, as that album released in 2021 during COVID, and was his first solo effort. And I think he's done 2 more albums since then, or something. He did an EP, and then that was another kind of rock influence thing, and then he's done another EP since that was like hip hop and was actually under the Johnny Three Tears name. And then I know Charlie Sheen's done a solo album, and I know Danny's working on a solo album, and I know J-Dog hinted he's working on a solo album, but then deleted all records of it, so he might have decided he didn't want to do that, or maybe some of those songs are being made into HU songs. And I know that Hollywood Undead has brought back the masks. There's been a lot of developments with this band over the last couple years, 4 or 5 years, and I'd love to go into and make more videos about that. But right now, I'm going to make this next one about The Abyss, and then I'm going to probably drop the subject for now so I can focus on some other projects. But I'm going to just try to come back and do Hotel California and the rest of that stuff eventually. But yeah,